I didn't kill my girlfriend. The house did. If the police read this, you'll find nothing on me. Shit, you might not even find me. I haven't had a response from anyone I've told. So I'm trying this here. I'm going to tell you everything, then you can decide if it was me or not. Which it wasn't. I'm a professional house sitter. Well, that is to say, my girlfriend and I advertise our house-sitting expertise as a way of keeping a roof over our heads. I made some pretty dumb decisions a while back, which left us living in a 4-man tent on the edge of Holothorn Forest. There are creepy noises, a very large animal that I'm yet to identify, and one very annoying squirrel that's learned to unzip the tent when we're asleep and steal the Oreos. I've tried setting a trap for it, but I still woke up with no Oreos and shit in my trainers. It's not all bad. It's peaceful. No one comes here, not even the local kids. In the winter though, it's nice to be able to feel your hands every now and again. So we do this. Did this. We've built up quite a few good references over the months, so it was no shock when we were offered a job sitting in this mansion of a house. To be honest, I didn't even know this place existed. It was almost smack bang in the middle of Holothorn Forest. If you think the outskirts are spooky, you should try walking 5 miles inward. But all that fear faded with the prospect of 7 days of hot water, bubble baths, and a shit ton of money at the end of it. Like a shit ton. At least quadruple what we'd normally get. I should have known then. I should have known this wasn't right just from that, but I've never been known for my smart decisions. I want you to know I take full responsibility. This isn't an admission of guilt for any law enforcement officers reading this. But I do feel guilty. Okay, I'll stop rambling. So, we got to this house, me and Esme. I found the key where they texted me it would be, inside this little fake rock in a plant pot out front. There was a note pinned to the door that just said, "Follow the rules, house menu inside." Ooh, fancy, Esme giggled. When we got inside, we couldn't find any rules. I guessed he just meant that this isn't your house, treat it with respect, but also eat what you like. Unwritten kind of rules. I searched in all the usual places someone might leave instructions, but the place was huge. I'm talking massive. The entrance room was like the size of a house itself, you know, with those ballroom stairs you see in films. The one that splits either side so you can walk down romantically and meet in the middle. Yeah, them. There was a library, a kitchen that could serve a restaurant, 3 living rooms, a dining hall, not room, fucking hall, and 6 bedrooms. So, I suppose they could have been stashed somewhere. But Esme wasn't worried, so I wasn't either. I thought the bedroom situation was weird. I was told only one guy lived there, but 5 of the bedrooms were clearly lived in. "The guy's got more room than sense," Esme said as she peeked into the 5th used room. "He's spoiled for choice, probably room hops," she chuckled as she led the way to the guest room. "The last 4 need a bloody good dust though." Esme always took things in her stride. Nothing fazed her. Nothing worried her. This was just another job. An easy way to stay warm and clean and get paid for doing it. But to me, something didn't feel right about this place. I'd been in big houses before, but this one was creepy. The endless halls seemed to swallow the light from the sparsely placed bulbs. And I just had this overwhelming feeling I was being watched. I tried to push it away and just enjoy it. It was freezing outside, and I was grateful for the warmth, but something in my mind held on to the other rooms. Something that Esme missed or overlooked. They were all old and dirty. Lived in, yeah, but not recently. And the locks were on the outside. I pushed the conspiracy theory side of my brain down as she opened the door to our room. It was beautiful. I half expected the guest room to be thick with dust or find some forgotten relic on the bed, but it was immaculately prepared. The air had a faint scent, something clean, almost floral, but unfamiliar. As if the house had chosen its own perfume rather than relying on anyone else's taste. I stood for a moment, letting my eyes adjust to the soft lamplight, and felt an odd sense of being ushered in. Not just by Esme, but by the room itself. It was welcoming in a way, but with the careful precision of a display home rather than a lived-in space. Every cushion was perfectly centered, every book on the shelf aligned just so, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the room was waiting for something, or someone, to make the first wrong move. "Aw, look, the duvet has little doves on it," she gushed, stroking the Egyptian cotton sheets. "The crows." She squinted at me. "How do you know that?" "The beak." Esme rolled her eyes and flopped on the bed. "Or doves with a nose job." Her stomach growled. "Food. I'm christening that ridiculous kitchen." "Fine," I said. "Let's see what's on the menu." The kitchen was too cold for a house that warm. The chill of the stone tiles seeped through my socks, making my feet ache. Shiny stainless steel countertops lined the walls. An island big enough to park a bike sat in the middle. And 2 ovens stacked like safes stood in the corner, cast in shadow. The fridge made a soft groan like someone forgot to fill the water dispenser. It sounded painful. I told myself it was normal, and I went to fill the kettle. Pantry first. Esme yanked the door open and whistled. "Look at this." He could feed a village. The pantry shelves were lined with clear jars and neat labels. Flour, sugar, lentils, and an army of jams. "I bet you 50 quid he's a prepper." "Or a magician," I interjected. "Look at this." Sitting in the middle of the island was a large teal wipe-clean cookbook with a little silver whisk embroidered on the front. "House menu," she read. "Of course it is." "That wasn't there before," I whispered. Esme chuckled. "Yeah, like the time you called me to ask where your phone was. Remind me not to let you look for shit on your own." I joined in the tease, but my stomach had already dropped. I knew for certain that hadn't been there before. She flipped it open. The first page said, "Welcome, keepers," in a polite font that made my skin itch. "Pancakes," she announced. "Screw menu, magicians. I want pancakes." She turned to the first tab. The heading looked like a starter on a restaurant card, but the words didn't match. It read, "Pancakes, yes, but begin with rules. Read them true, or call the ghouls. Hold your tongue. Let nothing be heard. The house keeps score by a little white bird. Thrice you err, the tally's made. On the 4th, a life is paid." Dude, it's giving Backrooms cookbook. Esme looked at me before bursting into laughter. "What the fuck is this?" She flipped through the pages. They were all blank. "Look," I said, taking the book from her and turning back to the starter page. Words were materializing under the poem, like someone painted over magic markers with water. They said, "Keepers. Esme Avery. Christy Stewart." "It wants signatures," Esme said, half joking. Her pen was clipped to the ribbon. I couldn't remember seeing it there. "Maybe just leave it," I said. She signed it anyway. And I signed because she signed. I didn't think it would matter. If I knew what would happen, I would have ripped the pen away from her and melted the thing in the oven. As the ink settled, the temperature dropped hard, like a fridge door opening inside a small room. My breath thinned, and I felt my heart beat a little faster. Under our names, pale shapes bled up from the paper's grain. Under Esme Avery, a little white crow surfaced, wings tucked. And under mine, Christy Stewart, another identical twin. Beneath each bird, a single hair-thin tally scratched itself into being. The sound so small, I thought I imagined it. Esme snorted. That has got to be AI. It's a book, I said. Not everything has a chip. Heat activated then. Cool trick. I convinced myself she was right because the alternative meant the book wasn't a book at all. And I wasn't ready to live in that world. A shrill ring pierced the silence. The phone attached to the kitchen wall shook in its receiver. Hold that thought, Esme chimed, marching to the corner. It'll be the guy. I'll ask him what kind of paper it is. I listened intently, but could only hear muffled syllables and Esme's replies as I gripped the book in anticipation. Hello? Yes, I'm the current keeper. She raised an eyebrow at me, smirking. Sure. What do you need? Yes. The door's locked. Why? Her smile thinned. Sensing the tension, I mouthed, hang up, frantically. Esme waved me off and pressed the receiver tighter to her ear. No, I'm not opening it. I can see the handle from here. I don't need to look out. The curtain's fine where it is. I'm not closing my eyes. Her smile died on the word. Esme's voice thinned. No, I said no. I mouthed, hang up, again. She held my gaze, swallowed, and didn't. No. I said no. I'm ending the call. I pressed the cradle, ending it myself. Who the hell was that? A neighbour being weird? Or teenager? Who knows? Esme shook her shoulders loose. Come on, paper. Let's find out what kind of magic marker the rich use. Yeah, I'd definitely like to know, I said, running my finger over the second tally mark scratched under her name. Looks like you're winning. Esme flipped to the next page to prove the heat ink trick, and froze. There wasn't a fade in this time. No watercolour creep. The whole spread was just full now. Dense text, neat sections, little headings boxed like a manual. Oh, she said, then too quickly. Thermalink. Estate agent gimmick or, like, augmented paper. People do that. My skin prickled. The temperature had dropped again, the way a supermarket freezer leaks when you open it, and the cold touches your teeth. I made myself look at the paper instead of the door. That's not a recipe, I said. It's a list of rules. How do you know? She shot back, defensive out of habit. The title. At the very top, centered in that polite font, it read, Heed the rules of Arthur Vale House. Number 1. Greet the kitchen on first entry. You must say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening on first entry. If the fridge answers, do not look. Unacknowledged rooms may misidentify keepers. If you are not a guest, you may be food. Well, we didn't do that. She let out a hollow chuckle. Number 2. When the phone rings between 12:10 p.m. and 12:19 p.m., answer the call, then immediately say, wrong house. The caller will begin to ask questions. You must hang up before the third question. Not doing so acts as an invitation. You do not want it to visit. If you accidentally answer more than 3, you will gain a tally mark. but if you have less than 3 tallies, there is still a chance for your survival. You must retreat to the library and lock the door behind you. Find the green book titled Constance Arthur and read any passage. Once completed, you may immediately leave the room if desired. We both glanced at the clock in unison. 12:15 p.m. This has got to be a prank, Esme said. Like saying it could make it true. Number 3. If you hear a music box anywhere in the house, at any time, do not move. Do not hum. Do not answer. Do not speak. Stay still until the sound ends. If it begins again, remain frozen until it stops. She cannot see you if you're still. If you can't be still, you must retreat to the guest room too. Stay there until the footsteps stop. Number 4. Do not leave your room between 4:30 a.m. and 7:15 a.m. This is their time. For the house to remain in harmony, you must not engage, even if they knock. Number 5. Once you have signed the agreement, you may not leave the premises until your duties are over. Opening the door will not take you home. Number 6. Arthur Vale House has complimentary Wi-Fi. The use of adult sites is strictly prohibited. Not everyone residing here is over 18. Failure to adhere will result in 2 tallies. Resides here, I whispered as if the walls might hear. Number 7. Every rule has an individual consequence that may prove detrimental to your health. The house would assist you if treated correctly. The tally marks are the number of rules broken. Get to 3, and the house stops correcting and starts collecting. Your name will then be moved to the back of the book. Esme's eyes darted nervously around the room, searching for any sign that the instructions were just a joke. Neither of us wanted to admit how unsettled we were becoming. Back page, I said, before I lost my nerve. I flipped to it. The paper felt different here, thicker, like certificate stock, and warm. It read, Held in care, Arthur Vale House. Under that, names, etched in the same pressed hand as the rest. L. Morley, 36, and J. Morley, 6, room 1. H. Weaver, 19, room 2. D. Keane, 22, room 3. R. Powell, 52, and S. Powell, 17, room 4. M. Irving, 56, room 5. No dates, no notes, just names and what looked like ages. Esme frowned. So, staff? Previous keepers? She wanted an answer that kept people alive. Keepers, I said softly. All the rooms had previous keepers in them. So, where's the owner's room? She asked, raising an eyebrow. We're standing in it. The kitchen? No. The house. The fridge made a whirring sound again, pleased that we'd understood something it thought was obvious. The hall clock posted a single patient click. At the bottom of the page, below room 6, an empty line waited, no ink, only the shallow press where a pen would go. I assumed the cleaner, neater room belonged to the man who paid us. It didn't. It belonged to whoever was the last keeper, before us. It hadn't had a chance to age yet. Esme shut the book halfway and squared her shoulders. Okay. Plan, I echoed, because copying her made me feel better. We follow the rules. We greet the kitchen in the morning, we pick up the phone and say wrong house twice and hang up. If we hear nursery rhymes, we freeze. We don't leave the room between stupid o'clock and 7:15, and we don't try the front door. And we don't say anything out loud that sounds binding. And we don't watch porn, I added. Helpful. Just then, a tinny jingle threaded in from nowhere. The kind of ice cream van tune you hear from 3 streets away. But it was inside the walls. Too slow. Like someone dragging it past on a string. We froze. Not a word, not a twitch. Only our eyes moved. Hers to me, mine to hers. The jingle drifted along the skirting boards, pausing at the kitchen door. It tried a cheerier loop as if it wanted us to help it out. Then it slid away down the hall. It played once more, fainter, and was gone. We didn't breathe for the count of 9. Then we did. Fine, Esme whispered, voice thin but steady. We're still fine. She lifted the book with 2 fingers and tucked it under the flour bag as if weight could keep it calm. We stick to the plan. Plan, I echoed. The pancake craving had long since curdled into nausea. We crept back down the narrow hallway, past the pantry, past the library we definitely weren't exploring in case we found more rules, and into the entrance room. It opened like a held breath. The double staircase loomed, split in either side of the tall wall like a ballroom spine. Light from a single overhead pendant swayed faintly, casting long shadows on the galleried landing above, making the darkness behind the banisters twitch. We just need to go upstairs and sleep this off. Things will look better in the daylight, Esme said. No more recipes, no more rules. I hesitated. The front door was only a few steps away. Still locked, still bolted, still there. I had to check. I just need to see, I whispered. Don't, she snapped, too loud, then softer. Don't. I have to, I said, and stepped towards the door. That's when it knocked. A low, dull thud on the wood. Not hard, not rushed, just a single, conversational knock. Esme let out the breath she'd been holding. My little laugh escaped with it, brittle and frayed. Oh, thank fuck, it's just that... Her words died. We both froze. Esme's mouth opened, then closed. We remembered the rule. 3 questions on the phone. More invites something here. The knock wasn't a relief. It was a response. Esme whispered, "Library." Then louder, urgent. "Library, go now!" We ran. The hallway felt longer somehow. The walls tighter. The light flickered like it was choosing a side. Behind us, the knock came again, louder, then once more, cracking the wood like it was desperate to meet us. We hit the library, slammed the door shut and locked it. The crash came just as the latch caught. Whatever was knocking was in the house now. "Help me find the book," Esme hissed, already tearing through the shelves. "Constant Arthur, Green Spine, anything with constant." Old hardbacks scattered like feathers. I yanked titles from shelves, spines cracking, breath sharp. Another bang shook the door. We didn't have long. "I found something," I shouted from across the room. I flipped to the back page. "Quick, read this sentence." Esme squinted. "I don't really like reading out loud. Do you like dying?" "Fine," she huffed, then cleared her throat. Formerly a Vale Parish property, rebuilt following the Arthur collapse, the land retains its original boundaries. We both stared at the page, not daring to move. Silence. Is that it? Did I do it? I think so. We sat back, breathed, then quietly. I know that name. What name? Constance Arthur. I thought she was made up, like Bloody Mary or something. What do you mean? We used to play this game in school. You had to sit in the dark, light a match, spin around, and whisper a name 3 times into the bath mirror. Then when you turned the lights on, she was supposed to come and eat your eyes or something. Right. Cool, she said, deadpan. We finally made it out of the library. Nothing chased us. Nothing screamed. The front door was still shut. Not a scratch on it. Once we got back to our room, we split off. Esme threw herself onto the bed, and I locked myself in the ensuite to splash some water on my face. I was mid-splash when I heard her shout, "The Hollow Lady!" I nearly slipped. "What?" I shouted, storming out. Esme was lying on the bed, grinning like an idiot. She held up the green book she'd swiped from the library. "The Hollow Lady is Constance Arthur," she said casually, thumbing a page. "Even I know that name." I perched on the edge of the bed, staring at the cover like it might burst into flame. No wonder this place is cursed. Esme shook her head. "Not quite. It says here the house isn't the problem. Well, it is, but not originally. It's what she let through when she made her own pact." She flipped a few pages, then read aloud, this time serious. "Once sentenced to death, Constance called out to all those who'd listen. She created a permanent tear in the veil to be able to receive her power." I stared at her. "So, everyone's here then?" "Yeah," she said, scanning the margins. "Some are victims and some aren't. Seems the things from beyond the veil are also bound to her law of bargain. I'm guessing the good ones set up the tally system and the others wrote the rules." "Helpful," I said sarcastically. "So they can't just come out and eat us. They need us to fuck up first." "Basically." She held up a hand. "Wait. It says there's a constant pull between good and evil here. The house needs a keeper, always, to maintain the balance. When the current keeper completes their deal, or forfeits it, they're replaced." "What deal?" She gave me a look. "Christy, what did the text say? The one you got when you applied?" I felt my stomach drop. "I didn't apply, I just got the text. It just said, sit the house for 7 days. Get paid £500. We looked at each other. "And then you signed the menu," Esme said solemnly. "So did you," I shot back. Honestly, if things hadn't gone to shit, risking our very lives by signing a menu would have been comical. But there was nothing fun about what happened next. We didn't talk much after that. Not because there was nothing to say, but because the weight of what we'd just read hung over the room like damp air before a thunderstorm. Even sleep, when it finally came, felt reluctant. An uneasy truce rather than rest. I don't remember closing my eyes, but I remember opening them. The red digits on the bedside clock blinked 4:18 a.m. Something had woken me, a sound, a presence. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, too heavy for Esme. They passed the door, paused, then doubled back. I held my breath. I didn't dare move. The creak of the floorboards pressed into my spine like pins. I stared at the ceiling. I counted the seconds. I prayed the door handle wouldn't move. Then, nothing. I must have fallen asleep again because the next time I opened my eyes it was 6:07 a.m. Pale morning light seeped through the curtains. I reached for Esme, but her side was empty. The sheets were cold. My heart skipped. Esme? I called her name again, louder this time, pushing up from the bed. But there was no answer. The ensuite was empty. She wasn't in the walk-in closet. She wasn't anywhere. I crossed to the door and listened. No footsteps this time, no creaks. Still, I knew I shouldn't open it. But then I heard it. A scream. High, short, sharp. Esme. I yanked the door open, self-preservation out the window. I took one step into the hallway when the jingle. It rang out like a nursery rhyme whispered into a throat full of needles. I froze, reluctantly. My whole body locked. I stared straight forward, willing my body to stop trembling in case that counted as movement. My peripheral vision darkened. There was something. Something crawling. No. Skittering. Along the wall. It wasn't a person. It wasn't shaped right. Limbs bent the wrong way, neck too long, skin or something like it, thin and twitching. It dropped down behind me. I could hear the creak of the floorboards as it inched towards me. I heard it breathe. Not like lungs. Like something hollow drawing air through splinters. I wanted to scream. I didn't. The jingle stopped. So did the breath. I bolted. I searched every room, every hallway, every corner of that creaking, cursed place, but there was no sign of Esme. Not even the smallest sound. I doubled back to the bedroom, hoping we'd somehow missed each other. The house was big enough. She wasn't there. But now, laying neatly in the middle of the bed, was the menu. The rules. It was flipped open to the contract page. The little white bird on her side had grown faint. And now, there were 3 tallies sat below it. And a name. It was gone from the front. That was 3 days ago. I haven't left the house. I still have 3 days left on my contract. I'm using the free Wi-Fi to post this. I found the password further in the menu. You'll never guess what it was. Feed the house. All caps. Yeah. I only have 1 tally to go before whatever took Esme takes me to. I answered the phone last night, and Esme was on the other end. I didn't even notice she was asking me questions until it was too late. I thought it was real. I wanted it to be real. I'm not gonna mess this up. But I think I know what I have to do. This morning, Rule 8 appeared, just like the others. It said, Number 8. Before you leave, you must find a replacement. Post these words exactly as written, or face your final tally. I don't want to do this. Short-term house sitter wanted for Arthur Vale House. 7 days only. Single persons or couples welcome. Excellent pay. Free Wi-Fi. And a free full house menu.